This is ESBR Boxing. Delighted to be joined by Elliot Stott. Elliot, we've just watched the weigh-ins there for Josjua Buatsi against Dan Azeez going down tomorrow night for the British and Commonwealth light heavyweight titles. Undefeated against undefeated. Just saw them step on the scales, and this is our reaction to that. Obviously, Josjua Buatsi weighing in at 174 pounds, which is 1 pound inside the light heavyweight limit. Dan Azeez weighing in at 172.3 pounds. So he's well within the light heavyweight limit, almost 3 pounds within that. I had to wait for Don Aziz there for a wee while, mate, to weigh in. Your thoughts on what we've just watched there, mate?
Yeah, look, it was just a weird weigh in because obviously we saw Adam Azeem and Paulson weigh in, and then we kind of felt like we were all set for the main event, and then there was, I'm going to say, around a 10 to 15 minute delay with Dan Azeez. Like, maybe we'll find out kind of what's happened exactly, but at the time, kind of people are going to all sorts of conspiracy theories about why he wasn't there on time. But he's clear. Look, he's kind of he wasn't late because he was struggling to make weight. And what makes the whole thing weirder is that he's come in, as you said, almost 3 pounds lighter, which for light heavyweight is strange. I don't know when Dan Aziz has come in that light as a pro. I'm not sure if he's ever come in that light as a pro. So weird. Yeah, I thought Danzy still looked good. It's just weird when kind of, I think Matt Macklin commented on and said Aziz he could have had some water as well, just to kind of he could have had a couple of pints of water before and he would have still made weight. So it's an odd one to me, Paul. Yeah, it's an odd one why Aziz has come in that at that weight. Buatsi, on the other hand, also came in a pound under. I think it's clear Buatsi struggles to make the weight more than Aziz does, and I thought Buatsi looked a bit drawn. It looks like he has struggled a bit to make weight, but he's still made it quite clearly. No one's had to kind of strip off or do anything. So yeah, bit of a long answer there, but yeah, the most important thing is that both men have made weight, and we've got a fight tomorrow night.
Yeah, 100% made a echo all the sentiments you've made there. The main thing is they're both fight is on, and both men have weighed in. So happy days. But yeah, just want to pick up on a few things just there. Obviously, I heard what Matt Macklin said as well. He could have had 2 pints of water down his Aziz. It's almost strange in the sense of why he would be so light. Like as you mentioned, he's never been that light before, from what I recall anyway, in his light heavyweight career. So odd that now all of a sudden he's almost 3 pounds within the limit. Johnny Nelson made a good point as well. He said he and his coaches would never have let him come in that light. That's like losing too much weight where you might have, you're losing extra weight for no real point. It's almost, there's no benefit to it. As long as you make the weight, whether you're buying on it or not, you've made the weight. Whereas he's substantially lighter than the light heavyweight limit. So yeah, it is an intriguing one for me, mate. I'm not 100% sure what the case is there. But you know what we're like, boxing fans, we're speculating all the time. Do you think that it was just genuine Dan Aziz, maybe a bit of unprofessionalism, being a bit late, and yeah, getting caught in traffic, or just maybe wanting Josjua Buatsi, sitting wait, mind games? What do you think it is? Or do you think that maybe it was a miscalculation from him and his team? They thought they were maybe struggling to make the weight, but there it was actually their scales that were dodgy. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, we're going down conspiracy theory route, aren't we? I think if I had to give you an answer, I think it could just be down to Dan Aziz just being late, which when you're main eventing in the biggest fight of your life, I don't think you should be late. So it's a bit poor. I don't know what time these guys are told to arrive. As I said, the weigh-in's taken place 10, 15 minutes later than it should have, which isn't actually fair on Josjua Buatsi. And look, I don't know the rules and regulations, but I don't know if Dan Aziz is kind of open to some sort of fine there, which I think you should be, in my opinion, unless there's kind of a really good reason. But if you're just late because you're kind of you've got poor timekeeping, I think you should be open to something there, because if it's a professional sport, we can't really have people just turning up that late to weigh-ins unless there's a good reason. And I personally think, to add something else into the mix, Buatsi was there on time. He should have just weighed in. He shouldn't have had to kind of sit there and wait an extra 10, 15 minutes just because Dan Azeez, and they had to face off yeah, at the end of the program. So yeah, I think it was just down to Azeez being late. But look, maybe we'll find out if the actual reason why today or tomorrow.
I mean, it's interesting, as you say, so many different conspiracies. We could talk all day about these conspiracy theories. I think you've kind of touched on it there. Before we come to maybe a final prediction on this after what we've just watched and whether our opinions maybe changed on how we see the fight going after the weigh-in. Of the two men, pace wise and physique wise, who do you think made the weight easier? Do you think it was Dan Azeez that made the weight easier? Although he did look maybe a little drawn in the face. But Joshua Buatsi is clearly a big light heavyweight. He's quite tall. So who would you say to you on the eye looked like they had the better time in the weight cut?
Yeah, I think Azeez has made the weight easier. I just think maybe he has done something different in his training, which means he's the weights come off at a quicker the weights come off quicker than it usually has. Maybe his diet's changed. I don't know. Look, Dan Azeez used to fight at super middleweight, but actually he's always been a light heavyweight. So maybe that's yeah, maybe I think Azeez may has maybe done something differently. Maybe he's kind of he's kind of always been lighter than he should have been. So yeah, look, he has come in light. Whether that's going to make a difference to what happens, we'll have to see. But maybe look, is what I think possibly whatever he's done has kind of come naturally to him.
Agreed, mate. Yeah, I think there's not really much more we can say about it. So with that being said, we may as well come to our final predictions ahead of tomorrow night, Elliot. Normally, we like to do these weigh-in reactions and give our final predictions in case maybe our minds change having watched the weigh-in, depending on how a fighter looks. So with that being said, mate, what is your final prediction for Joshua Buatsi against Dan Azeez, and has your mind changed at all?
Yeah, so when this fight was announced, I was going with Azeez. I just thought he had the momentum. Buatsi had that uneventful performance against Powell Stepien last time out. Um, However, then I kind of thought about it a bit more. We had the fight fall through back in October fight week with Azeez due to a back injury, which is look, when you're a boxer, your back's quite a major part, quite an important major part of your body. So I've thought about it. I've thought about it. We've all had plenty of time to think about this fight, and I do think Buatsi will win this fight. I just think Buatsi he should beat Dan Azeez. If you consider kind of when it comes to kind of talent and ability. He should do. Buatsi, I think he's not. He's had just a bit of a disappointing pro career so far compared to what the expectations were. So I'm expecting Buatsi to win tomorrow, and I actually think it could be a stoppage. I'm going Buatsi stoppage in the second half of the fight.
Very interesting, mate. Gone full circle from my original prediction, but yeah, fair play. I'm going for Joshua Buatsi as well. I think I've said all throughout that I think he'll win this fight. I do think it'll be on points. I think he could stop him. Don't get me wrong, he is a big puncher, but I think whether he'll fight fire with fire or not, I see him winning this on points, relatively comfortably. So yeah, interesting one, mate. Really enjoyed that as always. Joshua Buatsi, Dan Azeez, undefeated against undefeated tomorrow night from Wembley Arena. British and Commonwealth light heavyweight titles on the line. Let us know your thoughts, guys. Elliot, pleasure as always doing these weigh-in reactions with you, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Thanks, Paul.